submissive. We are innately discriminative towards each other because we are humans. It is I forget what it's called when you subconsciously kind of scan people so that you're trying to lower your fear or whatever it's called. Like it's a protective mechanism. That's why we're prejudiced. That's why we're discriminative. That's why when a woman walking at night about to go home and she sees somebody with a hoodie on, she immediately gets scared. Immediately, it's innate for that to be a thing. Right now, somebody can say, "Oh, well, that's racial profiling." Blah, 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 blah. Again, you can call it what you want, but everybody, including black people, all people, kids, babies, even animals, we all have that innate prejudice and discriminatory things. So that's why you don't treat people like Nana. And I'll land here. Okay, we're on Brad. Thank you, Concrete.
So Chris, you keep going back to this connectivity thing. I'm going to tell you again, there is no connectivity. We are tribal by nature for a collectiveness purpose. We have these tangibles to go through. Like, for instance, we want to have food. We want to eat. We want to have power. Throughout history, even going back to hunter-gatherer societies, you have a misrepresentation of history. Hunter-gatherers actually destroyed each other. They invaded territories. They would kill women.
Each other, yes.
they would kill each other. They would kill the men. They would rape the women and kill the offspring from the prior men so that their offspring could go on. You seem to leave out these little points where everybody was treated like, man, hold on a moment. Coda, come here. Come on, this way. Leave them alone. So you have these whole idea of like what society was. These individuals would also possibly dine on each other, which occurred across the globe. These hunter-gatherer societies would often go by a class system. Who would eat? Leadership who decided the tribe's decision. There was definitely a hierarchy. We can tell this through archaeologists and exhumation or whatever the fuck it is. They dug it up. They found where there's tribal elders. We're aware of these dynamics. There's always a power dynamic. And when it seems to me that you're preaching is not something that's based on any kind of real human behavior, and I'm no psychologist or psychiatrist, but I even myself, Concrete, others, they can Google this shit up. And even what you're spewing is not even remotely in the ballpark. You're not understanding that we don't live in a capitalist society. We really don't. But I mean, if you got down to it, we have parts that do, just like we have parts that do socialist, etc. And you don't even understand our own economic society in which you're profiting from because, quite frankly, you're an author. So you sell books. You get some capitalist reproach. But if you don't sell a single book, you can go to the U.S. government and say, I need food, I need housing, and I need clothes, and all of which will be provided for you at the taxpayer cents, at the collective, at your connectivity. So you don't even understand the economic system in which you exist in and understand how easy it is for you because of the masses of people that actually function to make this up. We have a prime case in point here. You were deemed unessential for society to function. The people that were deemed essential were put to work during the pandemic. The rest of you were put in your homes and told to sit there, and you pontificated and lamented the fate of the world at your hands while beating each other up for fucking diapers in a parking lot while a fucking Walmart worker who's making $15 an hour was sitting there going, well, this is retarded, and filming you and putting you on TikTok to show how stupid you fucking were. That's really the fate of the world. And then that Walmart worker went back to work every day through that entire pandemic while you sat there and told people they were an existential threat to democracy because they couldn't have any kind of connection to reality. You needed your fate saved. This is a type of bullshit. This is a type of rhetoric that I often hear on the left, and I don't even hear it from liberals. I hear it from these progressive, weird people that think somehow magically shit just gets done in society and built up because you don't have a function. You don't serve a purpose. And as far as the trials and tribulations, every single person on this planet has suffered trials and tribulations. What would slit your wrist or my wrist is irrelevant. I have seen the horrors of mankind. I've seen humanity at its worst. I've watched a fucking man kill children. I've watched a woman kill children. And you have no idea what I've seen, nor do I care what you've seen or what I care to tell you what I've seen. However, the point is like your individual struggles and saying that it would slit my wrist. Dude, no. If that's the pain you're going through, and that's why you want a utopia, then buy a dog, get a goldfish, buy a fern, and go see a doctor. I don't know what to tell you, but either suck it up, Buttercup, because guess what? Life is not fair. It's a fucking ride, and you either have to hang in there for the span, or you can get bucked the fuck up, and you can cry about it in the dirt. And you have two options here. And I don't know what to tell you, but it sounds like you're on the whining side, and you're just saying, why can't I just have this for the least amount of effort? Why do I have to put forth any kind of viability? Why do I have to prove myself? Why do I have to stand up? Why do I have to take risks? And why do I have to challenge everything and improve myself? It just seems
that's what you're saying, Brad. That's exactly what you're saying. Why do I have to change? Why do I have to stand up? Why do I have to be different? Because everything that I'm saying is like
cut off, and you got it. You wanted that respect, and then you had no problem cutting me off, didn't you, Chris? You wanted it one way. You just wanted it. You proved. Go ahead. Your little soft voice and your soft fingers. How much more you need?
See, it's hard arguing with Brad.
Patient of like talking about how somebody talks and their voice and all that stuff like that, like all this stuff that's just totally irrelevant to the point. It shows and tells just how people have a preference for like who and the way that people present things versus how or whether they actually entail value or not, right? So, like you have no,
on that instead of the overall context of the argument. When you told me I would slit my wrist, I didn't focus on that first. That wasn't my primary goal. I threw it in at the end. You were so butthurt, your ego was so fragile, and your points are so hollow that you had to address that first. That's why I threw it in.
No. That's the thing, Brad. I think it's
things, but let him finish because he's the lone person on his like who's holding his position. You know what I'm saying? So just like kind of just. You know, all right,
I'll one. No, I think the soft hands are relevant to Brad's point.
Samoa, he said, "Let me finish," and then you started up.
I thought he said Samoa. My bad.
Nathan has soft hands.
That's the point. An artist has soft hands because they use brushes to do all the work.
Yeah, I think it's just a matter of like I guess opinion of as far as what we can consider to be hollow. Or vacuous, right? Like what just is just totally devoid of value, right? Because you think that some of the things that I'm highlighting don't matter. You think that these things are devoid of value. You think that rest isn't work. You think that reflection isn't work. You think that breaking cycles and protecting your mental health is useless, void, right? You think that showing up for yourself when everything else is falling apart. You think that's worthless, right? But that's work. That's actually how we make sure that we don't perpetuate trauma and project onto other people the things that we haven't set the time to reflect to because maybe for one reason or another we've been conditioned away from reflecting on those things, or maybe we've just been trained to think that productivity is the only proof of purpose. But sometimes the real work is invisible, and sometimes it is unlearning things. Sometimes it is healing. Sometimes it's not just performing just to be seen as valuable, right? So no, I wasn't off. All right. I appreciate the conversation, guys. I do. I'm gonna.
I just want to point out in every one of your examples,
it's all reactional. Put it in the work. See?
Yeah.
You just said don't walk away.
In every one of his examples, everything's reactional. Like how you react to this, how you reflect on this, like how you put yourself or prioritize yourself after everything has been destroyed or everything's in like in a confused state. Everything is reactional, and I'll let everybody speak for themselves, but I think there's more to that.
You want people to be more affirmative.
The word is reactionary.
It appears reactional, but like it's literally.
Excuse me, erection. Pause.
Remember that?
It would be better stated that it's reflectional, right? Like it.
But isn't it relative? Isn't it relative to anybody, including the students?
It is.
Okay,
But
so like,
hold on.
You're just saying eat food. and you'll be healthy. But like, it's not specific to anyone's conditions. You're not saying anything like within depth. It's like all surface shit, right? Stress is relative to the individual. Resilience is relative to the individual. The coping mechanisms, which you're trying to talk about, is relative to the individual, right? So all of this is just saying, hey, if something's difficult, stand up to it the way you would. But here's the thing. If you don't agree with someone's coping mechanism, right, that could be me, where I'm like, fuck, that's just the way, like, it makes me feel good. You'd be like, hey, you shouldn't be that way because, you have to break the cycle of fuck. Get the fuck out of here, man.
Well, is he pointing out there's other ways than just saying?
I don't know what he's pointing out. If you're saying it's relative, then
He's saying
well, then what are you asking?
So Chris, again, two things can be true at the same time, right? I don't think what you contributed to your aspect of the conversation should be totally dismissed, right? But I think the way that you're adding it to this conversation, it should be swapped for what myself, Brad, and Concrete is bringing to the conversation, which is why there's friction between both sides, because they can coexist. They can coincide where you can be empathetic, you can focus on human connection, you can focus on all of those things, right? But that's not the respectfully answer or the solution, right, to capitalism, or whether or not humans are innately transactional, right? Again, those two things can coexist. It's okay for them to coexist. We can, give each other, little flowers and cupcakes when we take your money, right? When you buy a service, like we can say thank you, please have a nice day, right? But again, to say that that's the answer to how capitalism can be, I guess, reformed, for me, I have a problem with that, because again, it doesn't matter what system you put in place. It could be libertarianism, socialism, communism, fucking dictator. It doesn't matter what the system is. The human nature is going to fuck it up regardless. So yeah, I don't think that saying that this is one big happy family is the end all be all, because we're not one big family.
No,
y'all niggas.
Right. No, I definitely know that it's not one big happy family, right? And I think like maybe an easy example is something that someone taught me a long time ago when I used to work in the hospital. This guy told me in music that the rest is what has value, it's what distinguishes the beats. And when I think about this conversation, I hear Brad is like talking about the beats, like the most prominent things. When you hear like he's talking about that part. He's not talking about the space in between those, but that's actually what, like, that's what actually it's like distinguishes the beats themselves.
Yeah,
the rest is what gives the rhythm. Hold on. Well, maybe, but the rest still gives the rhythm the meaning, and without it, everything else is noise. So we've been conditioned to think that only the loud parts count, that the grind, the hustle, the visible output, but the real work also includes stillness. It includes healing. It includes listening to what you've never had time to hear before. Right? That's how I learned how to harmonize as a singer. I had to I never thought there was notes there, but I had to sit with them and figure that out. And I was like, oh snap, like, okay, I can start to hear the other note that I'm supposed to sing. It's a very faint and subtle dissonance that's like occurring in a space where there's an opportunity, but it takes time sitting with that to learn how to harmonize. So no, I wasn't like inactive. I was in the pocket. I'm doing the work that the world doesn't always applaud, but the soul always needs. That's why I'm a filmmaker. That's why I'm an artist, right? People don't understand how it's about connection. It's not about.
I love him.
Yeah. So
Hey, Mike, the definition is inside of the chat. There you go.
okay. So before I go to Samoa, first off, the idea that you get to hear music is based on the premise that somebody else did all the work for you. Somebody had to create music. And somebody had to create the space in which you could play the music, the safety, the village. That meant all the other chores were done. So once again, you are benefiting from a place that everybody else had did the work. So you don't get it.
Yeah, I think that.
and I don't me stop.
Gotcha.
I gotta get you back.
So, like, reactional is a word. I just wanted to make sure that everybody knew that my
Oh, it is. You were just using it wrong.
It's an adjective, right?
Reactionary is a better word for that.
Oh, a better word, but not the only word.
No, direction is a good word too. They don't just use them in their paper.
Shucks, he got cut. Yeah, so the term is to describe somebody's, or a circumstance of somebody's
Wow,
behavior.
it's really, you're going over definitions now.
Oh, sorry, but yeah, man.
Let's just go with it.
Semantic
Hold on.
word to respond
No, this is not a semantic word. This is just that if you knew.
It's literally a semantic word.
Yeah, like
If you knew better, you do better, dog.
I heard that gullible is not in the dictionary.
I had to respond to Chris.
What was the word? Oh, look at the other guy.
Gullible.
Okay, so again, you talked about healing, right? Like, people don't need to heal to start a business. People don't need to heal to participate in capitalism. People don't need to heal to do transactions, Chris. Again, no one is taken away from the emotional or what makes us human aspect of the conversation, right? But once again, for the third time, it doesn't have to exist in capitalism. In fact, it can be a disadvantage to put it inside capitalism in some, depending on where how you participate in it, right? But again, it doesn't have to exist. We can still have respect for one another. You know what I'm saying? But again, it doesn't have to exist. And I think they're making an argument that it has to exist in order for it to be better, when it really doesn't.
I think it's important to note that Adrian Dittman is in the audience, and this is someone who is known to record rooms.
Yvonne Mosso.
I mean, Nathan also is.
Is that Beamer's new name? Oh, that's crazy.
Hilarious. Yeah, the person.
This Adrian Dittman got the attention of the real Adrian Dittman. That was a funny conversation.
Yeah, but the guy Doe's in the audience. He's a room recorder, so do what you.
Do you believe that, Dr. Australia? People are threatened by me because they're so stupid. It's essentially what happens is they don't want their stupidity exposed. So welcome everybody to Brain Rot Stupid Hypnosis, or what I like to call Extreme Stupid Super Hypnosis, or otherwise known as Super Stupid Hypnosis. That's essentially what the Chillism Room is. It's a collective of very low IQ stupid people who sit there and practice their words and hypnotize each other all day long. And now we got people popping in and out of my rooms to see, just exactly the power of Adrian Dittman and what he was doing right there. I give you another amazing room.
So he wasn't asking you to be heard. So
I just don't know what it sounds like.
Oh, well, there's a bar in it. For example, there's a bar in the song that goes, "A black man will spin the block for his ops while wearing Timberlands, but he won't spin one single block to go get Mr. Zimmerman. You bitch asshole."
Shit, that was crazy. That was That was like a Jay-Z racist bar, bro.
Okay, back to Chillism. There we go.
Is to Louis. So
Why would you do that?
Actually, what Mufor is?
Yeah.
Because I was talking to him about it in the chat, and I think it got lost. So I wanted to explain what it was. It's nothing terrible.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, it's just a coffee drink. It has the coffee grounds are like a sludge at the
Nathan says, let's get back to the conversation. And your thought is, let me talk about whatever this ethnic food is. Okay.
Well, yeah, who doesn't
Go
like
ahead.
ethnic food? Fine then. I'll just tell Louis about it later.
Did Nathan even know what the conversation was about, or did he just hear me add to the conversation and wanted to be a dickhead and say, can we get back to the conversation?
I heard you guys talking about transactional relationships.
No.
That's not the conversation, sir.
That was. What happened to this? But you don't know the right
gaslight
really.
him.
So the conversation.
Don't gaslight
it
Nathan, bro.
was initially a conversation about capitalism, and I guess Chris was saying like capitalism is this system where like like your
Inherently
value.
evil.
Yeah, inherently evil. Your value is what's like what like how much you can contribute.
You just heard me talking and said, come on, let's move on to the conversation.
No, but he brought up transactional relationships. That is pertinent to the conversation.
But I'm talking about the intentionality of Nathan cutting off the conversation.
He was just being an asshole. Nathan.
I thought he was cutting off the part. No, I thought he was cutting off the part where
Samoa, get his thing out your
I
mouth,
heard you, concrete. You said you love me, or something like that.
That was concrete being concrete.
I think that was a branch off of like this thing because we're making the point that hey transactions are like being transactional is inherently human and like inherently it's like a natural thing and it's not.
We're talking about transactional.
I didn't say we weren't.
Right, and we're because.
What's wrong?
I think Chris was trying to.
What I heard was trying.
Okay.
No.
Who wasn't here to tell us what it was, but go ahead.
No, I wasn't telling you what it was. I'm telling you what I heard you guys were talking about.
Yeah, because you just got here like 2 minutes ago.
I said that. And I said that you guys aren't talking about the topic which y'all was initially
That's not what you said.
Oh, I want to just kick you out of the room. Listen, I don't need your attention. Okay, you don't get mine.
Yeah, we're being recorded, by the way.
Hey, I don't understand why what Nate said was, Nate said, go back to the part where you guys were talking about transactional relationships. And everybody said, no, that's not what we were talking about. And then, but that's the part that he's talking about, right? Instead of the...
They kicked me again. We're being recorded.
No. This is, going to war in Iraq. This is, many years of PTSD. This is like reality. I'm never gonna hurt myself. I believe I was made in the image of God, and I would never hurt the image of God. So I would never hurt myself. And
somebody else told me, I wouldn't be a part of your game. Like, I would have felt like I'm being controlled by puppet masters. I'm like, nah, you getting paid?
You didn't mute them.
Wait, but weren't they calling specific individual black people smooth brains, not black people as a
And Sam, do you really feel like that voice you will be intimidating in person?
Well, I'm a 6'1" guy. I'm a pretty big guy, so I'm not too afraid of people.
Lonzo's a real tough guy.
Sound like you that tall at all. But
Lonzo's a real tough guy. He's a Jew-hating Dominican Republican dirty dog. Look at that ugly face. Rat face. Fucking pube hairs. Just go straight into the attack. Don't even wait. Just get your punches in and get kicked. That's what I like to say. Fuck 'em all. Fuck 'em all.
Ну да, не совпадаем по времени. Мы открываемся день ближе к 9, там 8:30.
Мне еще получается то, что я рано просыпаюсь, я успеваю с американцами поговорить. Ну, не в Клабхаусе, а в плане по работе, с кем надо. Типа 4 утра, там вечер.
You were a perfect child. My kid could do no
wrong. Can you stop, man? Can you honestly stop? I just asked an honest question to the room.
Smoke, and somebody responds, and then you interrupt, and then cry about being interrupted. I'm
just asking, can you answer the question? I've had people do that to me and tell me I'm not answering the question.
So again, I'm going to keep going. So again, you're the Sultan type. You have it. No calluses. I bet you all of your fingernails look fucking perfect. There's not even a scuff on them. I bet you they haven't even seen dirt underneath those nails. So the overall is humans are not connected. We're tribal. We will group for purpose, idealism, or need, necessity, but we are not connected. The fact that you can observe currently that people try to retreat and they have wariness about connecting with, I don't know, progressive utopian people like you, it's not because they don't want to have a mutual, afternoon cup of Joe with you and say, hey, here you go. That was a really nice talk. I'm glad I figured out that you really are going to contribute to society. No, instead, where they're retreating from is they just don't want to be in danger. It's a natural response.
Damn, they kicked that account too. That's 3 for 3, right? It's a lot of work that they're doing to prevent themselves from being recorded while they talk about nothing.
When you say the word hoe, never mind.
Yeah.
Get that bread, get that head, then leave.
That's a prostitute right there. Hey, who?
What is it?
That's a two.
Is that some great thing?
No, that's the relief for the bust on the Arch of Titus. That Emperor Titus had built, I guess, commemorating his destruction of Jerusalem. That's what they built. I think it's in Rome. It's on the Arch. But actually, that menorah was used, that image is used like in the Israeli menorah. They copied it because it's so good.
Well, we just added an extra one. Because it's a Hanukkah versus a menorah. Yeah, because so many things are different in like Israel versus America, like for Judaism. It's interesting.
Yeah.
And like, I guess one of them is like Passover being like 2 days here, and it's like 1 day in Israel. And it has to do with the moon, I think, is the most important part. So I don't know why they bother with the second day.
Super Stupid Hypnosis World Premiere 2025.
That's right. Welcome to Super Stupid Hypnosis as I live stream other clown house rooms exposing super stupid people.
You're getting really famous. A lot of followers. I'm proud of you.
Thanks. It's been a life goal of mine to expose stupidity and how people waste their time. This app is the perfect opportunity to expose stupidity and how people waste their time.
I am top of the list of stupidity, wasting time. And I've come to terms with the caveat emptor, whatever. What's with the PT Loser in your picture? I used to love that car, though. It was, like, so cool when it came out.
Yeah, it's my new rap. I like it. PT Loser.
I like them, though.
Do you really? Wow.
I wanted the wood-paneled one.
That's like such a grandma car.
Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Super Stupid Hypnosis, where a bunch of clown house people think that somebody named Tanner 2028 is running for president. Ain't nobody. They kicked me. It was a quick one. Have you seen the Tanner 2028 room where a bunch of black people update their PTR?
Yeah,
some imaginary person named Tanner. It's like the stupidest room in the world. But every room is stupid. I'm trying to find you the greatest and the best of stupidity. Let's see what we can find. Chillism really takes the cake. I don't have any other accounts. Well, I have one more account. Let's get back into chillism and root out the source of the stupidity. Here we go. Oh, Dr. John wants to say something. Welcome to Super Stupid Hypnosis.
I'm hypnotized.
Well, you're a self-hypnotizing hypnotist.
We're not doing it in our backyard, so we feel good about it. But we are most assuredly, every time you put on a pair of Nikes, you have a 13-year-old. The average worker for Nike that makes your shoe is 13 fucking years old and they earn 10 cents a day. Right. You tell me that you don't believe in slavery.
Businesses back to America, baby. Bringing those businesses back to America.
Brad acknowledged that slavery still exists.
Hold up, no, Chris, wait a minute. What you put in the chat is next level. Like you're accusing somebody, and I trust me, I would
toe to toe with him, he could be a bit of an ass, but that's reaching, okay, Chris? What you just put in the chat is that's accusing somebody of something that he's not even talking about.
Hey, girl, we usually leave the chat in the chat. It sometimes helps